What is up, everyone? Oh my God, I don't even know how to even begin with today's show. I knew that today was going to be absolutely nuts, and I was expecting for something to talk about, but I was not expecting this whatsoever. Hey everyone, welcome to episode 10 of Speak Now Pro Wrestling. I'm Denise Salcedo, and boy, do we have a lot to talk about today. We are going to kick things off with AEW Dynamite. Winter is coming because there is so much news out of that one show. So much happened in those 2 hours. After that, we'll go ahead and talk about NXT. And then after that, we're going to talk about NXT TakeOver WarGames. So like I said, there's going to be so much to talk about in here today. But first of all, I do want to let you all know that this is a very interactive stream. I am going to be reading all of your thoughts, your opinions, etc. So be super active in the chats because that really helps me out. Also, because we do have a lot of people in here, chances are we will be getting lots of comments and I won't be able to see each and every single one of them. You are more than welcome to send in a super chat. Plus, F4W is super kind and lets me keep 100% of the profits of super chats after YouTube takes its cut. So feel free to send in a super chat if you want me to read your question, statement, or comment, or whatever it is. I will go ahead and read it on the air tonight. Guys, I'm pumped. So prior to the show, I was legit wearing a turtleneck. I had to take it off because I was sweating so much by everything that was happening here today. But we got our first super chat of the day. So let's get into it. Jobber JJ says, I don't need Blue Chew tonight. AEW was great. Sting, I lost my mind. Main event was good, but I was not ready for AEW and TNA relationship. Good for TNA. Jobber JJ just got so much out with this one super chat. And I gotta say, I agree with each and every single thing that you just said right now, Jobber JJ. But guys, send in your comments. Let's start off with what you guys thought in regards to Sting, in regards to Winter is Coming, in regards to Kenny Omega becoming AEW World Champion. Also, the fact that we now have a working relationship between AEW and Impact Wrestling. I mean, come on, there's just so much to talk about. Let's see what you guys are all saying here. I'm going to kick this off with Braden Jackson, who says Dynamite likely broke 1 million viewers tonight. So obviously, we don't know the ratings just yet, but my prediction is that it's going to be pretty good, and I will tell you why. Why? And I think we all know this. It's obviously because of Sting, okay? Sting. And I said this on Twitter. I went out there and I said that I thought the fact that the way that they brought in Sting, probably, I didn't even check what time it was during the show, but I thought it was awesome the way they brought him in the sense that a lot of people definitely switched their channels. And you know that the last like half hour or so after Sting came out, that those numbers are definitely going to jump and you're definitely going to see that in the ratings. And I do think it was great placement to introduce Sting into the show because people stuck around, A, for more surprises, expecting to see like, I don't know, more surprises, and B, for people to actually stick around and watch the Moxley Kenny Omega match. So there was definitely a lot to check out there. Nelson Wade says AEW wins. I gotta agree on this one. Unfortunately, Winter is Coming definitely outshadowed NXT by far a lot here today. Patrick DellaPenna says big Omega win and the Sting appearance. AEW is out to kill NXT this week. They definitely did. And thank you so much to the Ski Boo who says Sting came in 10 minutes into the second hour. Dude, that is some great timing. Okay. Kevin Yu says, when Tony Khan said the wrestling world would change forever, I was like, okay, sure. I thought it was Tony hyping AEW. The wrestling world did change. Kevin Yu, I am so happy that you brought this up because I was on your exact same boat. We have talked about the fact that Tony Khan tends to, really, really overhype things, maybe embellish a little bit. And so I think a lot of people kind of, I've been on here. I've said, hey, I think that Tony Khan shouldn't have really, put this over. He shouldn't have tweeted this. I've been that person. I've said that. And so going in when I saw that he said in his press release that this was going to be the best Winter is Coming ever, the best AEW Dynamite ever, when he said all of these things, I thought, okay, he's just really pushing for those ratings. And so I do think that I was on your exact same boat, Kevin, where this is what I thought. But I gotta say, that Tony Khan definitely delivered on this one 100%. We have another super chat from Carlos Mendes who says, winter came and so did we. Hashtag Blue Chew. Ricky Bobby says, Denise, you're doing a great job. I don't know if it was just me, but when Sting showed up, it felt like mountains were moving so effing good. And we have another super chat from Hodge Gulashi who says, just some Denise hype. God, you guys are so awesome. Thank you so much for sending in the super chat. But we have a comment from Black Destroyer who says, Tony Khan is going to begin the next golden age of wrestling. I sincerely believe that. Wrestling Fandom says 350 people in the chat. That has to be a record for Speak Now Pro Wrestling DWO running wild, brother. Yes. Thank you so much to everybody who came into this chat. You guys are awesome. Like, seriously. All right. So I'm just going to start off by talking about Sting. Let's talk about the reaction. So when this was going down, guys, as you know, I watch both shows at the exact same time. Sometimes I have to mute a certain show and listen to something else while, depending on what's going on. So I had AEW muted at this point, okay? I had AEW muted, all right? And then afterwards, I'm watching AEW and I'm seeing that the lights go down and they have this video graphic and I'm thinking like, I wasn't expecting anybody to come out. Like I wasn't expecting a big reveal or somebody huge to come out. I really wasn't expecting it. I was expecting just for, I don't know, something random to happen. I don't even think I had any sort of opinion on what I thought was really going to happen. And so I'm just chilling, guys. I'm relaxing. I'm not expecting anything major to happen whatsoever. And then I see the big words on the screen that said Sting. Immediately, I pressed paused on NXT. I went to the AEW window, pressed the unmute button, and I just lost it. I could not believe it. And immediately I started tweeting out and it just blew up, guys. It blew up. And the reason why is because it's freaking Sting. And I don't know if people, I'm sure that everybody here is really excited about this, but it is a big deal that he is here. And I think that AEW has really been needing something to really get them to that next level, to really get that hype to the next level, to really, really make them a competitor against WWE, something that is considered a game changer. And I really do think that Sting is just that. I think that he is one of those game changers that now that he's incorporated into AEW Dynamite, I think he can benefit a lot in terms of just look at the fact that how many people right now are talking about him and are talking about the AEW product. And we have so many super chats coming in right now, so I'm going to try to get through all of these. Let's see. The first one here is from iChurch, Pastor Blaster, who says, oh my God, Sting is my all-time favorite. Dude, raise your hand if you were a little Stinger up in here. I'm sure we have plenty of them in here. Patrick DellaPenna says, where do you think Sting goes from here? Love the show, Denise. Thanks for talking wrestling with us every Wednesday. So, Patrick, I do not have, obviously any sort of direction for where I think Sting is going to go from here. He's obviously in his early 60s, but let me just say that if Sting dyed his hair black, nobody would even know because the guy looks perfectly capable, perfectly fine. So you wouldn't even be able to really tell the age difference in terms of appearance. I don't know where Sting goes from here, but all I do know is that AEW has something big here. And AEW knows it, and I don't necessarily think they're going to drop the ball on this one. I really do think that they're going to utilize Sting to the max potential that they possibly can. And this personally makes me really happy for Sting. I interviewed Sting at the WWE SmackDown 20th anniversary blue carpet. I got to talk to him, and one of the things that he told me in our interview was that when he was gone from wrestling, the number one thing that he missed the most was the fans, was the crowd, was the reactions, and just, really living through it all. You got to understand, this is Sting. This is somebody who was a top star in WCW, and WCW, in the terms of ratings in terms of the impact that it did in wrestling, it's really, really huge, really, really large. And so he was the top star in the top company at the top period of pro wrestling. So like, this is why Sting is a big deal. But thank you so much to Patrick DellaPenna for sending in this super chat. And sorry guys, I'm getting so many super chats. So if I lost track of them, please let me know. Where am I on this one? Okay. Oh my God, guys, you guys bombarded me with super chats. Hold on a second. All right, I'm at iChurch Pastor Blaster. All right, next one. Patrick DellaPenna. And then we got one from Sam Pyboon who says, how many matches do you want Sting to have in AEW? I don't know. I don't have an answer for you. I really do not. I think once we actually see the ball rolling and we see what direction AEW is pointing Sting in, I think that's where we're definitely going to go ahead and get a better idea. I think come next week, we'll definitely have more of a sense of, because we don't even know. We don't even know for sure that he's going to be wrestling right now. We don't even know that for sure. Like, the assumption could be yes, that he is, but we don't necessarily know that for sure. So he could be like I don't know. He could be something. He could be like a manager. I don't know. And Brian Cherry says, I legit have your show playing and SRS open in another tab on mute. Thank you for muting SRS. Just kidding. SRS is great. He says, a point for the good guys. Denise gets a point in the real Wednesday night war. Thank you so much, Brian, for the lovely super chat here. And I'm going through the rest of your super chats here. Okay, we got one from Chris Ludek who says, do you think Anderson and Gallows align with Omega when he arrives on Impact Tuesday in a mini Bullet Club reunion? Holy guacamole, guys. We haven't even talked about that yet. I'm telling you, so much happened tonight. We haven't even got into the fact that there is now a working relationship between Impact and AEW. And I just have to say, this is a huge win for Impact Wrestling. A huge win. I have been feeling bad that Impact Wrestling has been they have some great talent, and a lot of the times they tend to fly under the radar. And I feel that finally, this is the thing to get them back up there because they have so much potential. And I don't know how many viewers here are, Impact Wrestling fans or haven't given Impact Wrestling a shot. I don't really know, but I will tell you this as somebody that does watch Impact and always constantly talks to Impact Wrestling talent. They definitely have so much good stuff on their show, but what they need is somebody to help drive those views. And so I definitely think that having Kenny Omega there is a perfect way to go ahead and get them going in the right direction. DV Acme says, the knockouts start showing up on Dynamite. It'll do wonders for the AEW women's division. So DV Acme, I just tweeted about this like minutes ago on Twitter. And basically I said the exact same thing. I said, this would be fantastic because one of the big things that people have been criticizing AEW about is really their treatment of the women's division in the sense that, you have Shida as champion, but she necessarily isn't being highlighted whatsoever. And so there's been a big disregard for the women's division. And so I tweeted out, hey, think about it, guys. How many knockouts don't they have on Impact Wrestling right now? And you're talking girls that know how to wrestle, that bring in different styles. I think if they were to be incorporated into AEW, I think it would be awesome, especially because they have this working relationship. And I really do think that it would help elevate the AEW women's division. So I definitely agree with you, DV Acme, on this one. And we have one from Ricky Bobby who says, not sure if my first chat came through. Oh my God, I'm so sorry, Ricky Bobby. No, wait, I did read yours. He says, Sting showing up felt like mountains were moving. You could feel it through the television. Impact deal. Great. Dude, seriously, I haven't felt this excited or I haven't noticed this much excitement in wrestling in a really long time. I think the last time people felt genuinely excited about something was probably, I'm going to say, the Edge return at Royal Rumble this year. That was a big moment too, a great moment because a lot of people didn't think that Edge would be returning. So in that sense, that's probably one of the most recent ones that I remember. Antonio Garza says, Johnny Swinger versus the Young Bucks. Book it, Khan. I think Tony Khan is definitely listening to the fans. So if you guys are, wanting to make suggestions, I don't know, let your voice be heard. And you never know, it might just, make it up on there. All right, guys, I'm scrolling through to make sure I didn't miss any of your super chats. I just want to let you guys know that StreamYard, it doesn't make reading super chats the easiest. So I want to make sure that if you sent one in and I didn't see it, that you will please let me know. And if not, we'll kind of go from there. Okay, guys. So let's kind of start. Okay, there's so much to talk about. All right, let's kick it off. Let's talk about, we're going to go through everything here. Let's start off with the AEW Dynamite Battle Royal. So make sure to send in your thoughts on this one. So let's start off with this. There were several highlights for the AEW Dynamite Battle Royal, and those highlights were Miro, because this is the first time since he's been in AEW that I really feel he was actually featured and highlighted in a positive way. Just looking at Miro, physically, just looking at him, the guy has seriously worked on his body where he looks very, very fit. I mean, the guy looks like an action figure, all right? And that is a compliment. And he was highlighted in this battle royal and he looked great throughout it. He was definitely a focal point, but I have to say, my absolute favorite part of this battle royal was that whole exchange between Sammy Guevara and Jungle Boy. Dang. So when they were essentially they were doing so much stuff out on the apron and working the ropes and doing all of this stuff. When they got thrown out, this really ugly sounds came out of my mouth because I popped so hard for this. It was crazy. I thought that was such a fun spot. And it was a really, really nice reminder of what the young talent on the roster can do and what they have and what their abilities are. So I gotta say, thumbs up on this one. The last three in the AEW Dynamite Battle Royal were MJF, Wardlow, and Orange Cassidy. And essentially they had Cassidy eliminate Wardlow, and the winners were MJF and Orange Cassidy, who will be facing off against each other next week. So honestly, decent battle royal. We know that Tony Khan is a big fan of battle royals. He has said this on media calls and all of that. Personally, I wait to the big moments. And once everybody clears out, that's when the battle royal is really starting, because usually in the beginning, it's always like a cluster, so you don't always want to have that. All right. Nicholas Jakus says, can you please talk about the Sammy versus MJF heat that made the show for me? Make that match happen. Dude, consistently, we have been seeing, obviously, for the last several weeks, we've been seeing a lot of turmoil between Sammy Guevara and MJF. And once we get to the Jericho match, we will talk about that more. But I love this, and I love it for the simple fact that MJF's character, the way that it balances out in contrast to Sammy Guevara, it really works out really great where why both guys are in it for each other. And so I really do love what they're doing with Sammy Guevara and MJF. Kevin Yu says, the sequence between Sammy and Jungle Boy was so spectacular to watch. The athleticism between the two was unreal. Jay says, Miro versus Wardlow is the match I never realized I needed to see until tonight. Sammy versus MJF is going to be great the way they are building it. I completely agree with you. And I've come on here and I've been unfair. I've said that I wasn't a big Wardlow fan. I've said this on past shows. Don't crucify me. But I will say this. I definitely would like to see Miro versus Wardlow because, again, it's literally two big buff dudes that want to kick each other's butts. And I am always there for two guys that legit want to kill each other. Gary Brar says, Wardlow showing he's the brains of the operation by actually noticing that Cassidy wasn't out. D-Chain Riot Maker says, Miro finally did get some shine. Maybe a future Jungle Boy versus Sammy ladder match could steal the show. I really like the way that you think because I haven't thought about that whatsoever. Redmond Survivor says, I love the Hangman and Dark Order interaction, and he left out the heel turn with them. They're fine. They're the family he needs. Dude, it's great. Andrew Schultz says, I think the right person won the battle royal, but it was pretty sloppy in the beginning and booked kind of oddly. Matt Hardy eliminating Hangman was a head scratcher, heel turn coming. Yeah, I kind of already sensed that with Matt Hardy, that heel turn since last week. And Hangman essentially not making it to like the final bottom was a little bit of a head scratcher for me. So I do agree with you in that sense. And I do agree with you in the sense that it was sloppy in the beginning, but I think the reason for that was really because there was just a bunch of people in there. And then once they started the eliminations came really, really fast. The Ski Boost says, if you haven't already, check out Sammy Guevara's weekly vlogs on YouTube. The week's shows was great. BTE level great with all the skits and character development. Yeah, so dude, Sammy Guevara has been doing his show for a really long time. When I was working with Sammy Guevara in Ara Lucha prior to him signing with AEW like a couple of years ago, we would talk about his YouTube channel and just like talk about YouTube in general. So it's been pretty cool to see how his YouTube channel has gone from like here to like here since signing with AEW. We have a comment from Jacob who says, I agree the Battle Royal was weird. Orange Cassidy was out of the match for most of it and then comes back at the end and wins. A trope we've seen too many times. I completely agree with you, Jacob. The second that I saw that they were doing this with Orange Cassidy, it essentially became pretty predictable in the sense that I knew that he would be, moving forward in this match. So definitely agree. Hajj Goulash says, Hangman is above the ring. They just moved his due story forward with this. And okay, I was reading your comment. El Yolo Cholo says AEW was the best tonight. This was a great show, guys. Definitely the best. All right, guys. So after the Battle Royal, let's talk about Chris Jericho versus Frankie Kazarian. So there was a lot of high moments in AEW, and there were quite a few low moments. I would consider the Chris Jericho Frankie Kazarian match to be one of those low moments. Personally, I kind of just felt that this match was not good, mainly because you could really tell the difference in stamina and speed between Jericho and Frankie Kazarian, and it hurt to see, you guys. It hurt to see. And so I really wasn't feeling this match. I don't think it ever got really good for me whatsoever. So for the match itself, I wasn't interested in this. However, I did like everything that happened afterwards. So Jericho's getting a beating from Frankie Kazarian. MJF comes out with the towel. Basically, it's playing off that he's going to throw in the towel for Chris, but Sammy Guevara stops him and doesn't allow him to do so. Then the commentary really plays off the fact that Jericho never saw MJF with the towel. He only saw Sammy Guevara. So one can only imagine that following this, that Jericho was going to start, being a little suspicious of Sammy Guevara, hence essentially doing what MJF wants, which is essentially causing a drift between Jericho and Sammy Guevara and, removing that trust that they might have had prior to him joining the Inner Circle. So I do like this little aspect of this story, and I actually thought that was probably the most creative part of all of this. Afterwards, Jericho does win the match. Post-match, Sammy Guevara attacks MJF and they start to fight. This causes the Inner Circle to start fighting all amongst each other. And basically Jericho says, if you guys don't get along, we're going to break up. We're going to call this an end, and that's going to be it. So personally, everything that happened after this match was perfectly fine. The match itself wasn't that great. And Nelson Wade says, Jericho should just do tag matches. Yeah, unfortunately, there has been, it's Jericho, and he's my favorite wrestler. But I do have to say there is a big difference right now in what we're seeing in terms of in-ring work. So Gary Barr says, Frankie Kazarian needs more shine. Such a great worker. Not only a great worker, but a guy that has had so much history and so much experience in wrestling. I mean, everything that he did in Impact Wrestling is definitely something that I think is top notch up there. And Kevin Yu says, I wasn't a fan of this match. The main talking point was the Inner Circle drama instead of the actual match itself, which left a sour taste in my mouth. Personally, that's what I was expecting, so it didn't leave a sour taste in my mouth. It was more of the sense that's what I saw. It was definitely a story-driven match. Jake Larson says, Jericho is a legend, yes, but but tonight is the oldest he has ever looked. Couldn't catch his breath after the match on the outside. Yeah, it was bad. Like he was struggling there. And it was very noticeable, and I think more noticeable than maybe some of the other times. Laurence Forward says, guys, Jericho's was supposed to look bad, old and useless. So MJF looks stronger, better, stronger, and younger. I don't necessarily think that's what they were supposed to do, but I like your thinking. And Jules says that Judas effect looks stiff as hell. I didn't catch that, but maybe when I rewatch it, I'll check and see. Corey Arthur Fox says, Chris Jericho looked very tired. Kazarian was trying hard, but Jericho was blown up. It made the interference look weak and kind of sloppy, but I like the idea and building the storyline. Corey Arthur Fox, I think you nailed it there. I think everything you said was exactly what I was trying to get across here. So great point there. Matthew Makovsky says, Denise calls Guevara like Guevara. Am I saying it wrong? Am I saying Sammy Guevara wrong? Oh, that's embarrassing. I hope I'm not. Oof. I feel like that's happened to me before. I feel like I say everything wrong. Don't make fun of me. Let's move on. Matthew McCosby, thank you so much for the super chat. He says Jericho is an old dude. Inside joke, everybody. Matthew McCosky is not calling Jericho an old dude. It's an inside joke. BTW, I just want to thank each and every single person who is in this stream. Thank you so much for joining. This is awesome. I love having you all here. Thank you for listening to me. And secondly, if you do have a comment, question, or statement that you want me to read on the air, but you're like, I'm sending it in and Denise isn't seeing it. God, she should see my message. The easiest way for me to see anyone's message is by sending it in a super chat. Also, it is very appreciated. F4W does let me keep 100% of the proceeds of the super chats. You guys keep me fed, keep me clothed by sending in these super chats. All right, guys, let's move on to the next match. So after this, we had Britt Baker versus Layla Hirsch. How did you guys feel about this one? Personally, I wasn't into this match. I think a lot of it for me, there was a lot missing for me to be interested in. I thought a lot of it kind of looked a little bit sloppy, if I'll be honest, but I just personally wasn't feeling this match whatsoever. What I was feeling, though, was Thunder Rosa coming out afterwards and attacking Britt Baker and them essentially brawling. I loved this because this is the first time that or maybe not the first time, but one of the most recent times in the AEW women's division where it felt hot, where it felt like important. What I was seeing was important. And I like that because I think that's what Thunder Rosa brings. And I think that's why she's getting over with people and why people want to see Thunder Rosa, because she brings in energy when she comes in and she does this stuff. When she comes in, it feels like a big deal. So good job on that. But what did you all think about this? And I'm going through your comments. John Carlos says, you have to take the weather in consideration when talking about these matches. These guys are going out in 40-degree weather. Nelson White says, Hirsch is dimes. What does that mean? I don't get that meaning. I'm sorry. And Patrick DellaPenna says, breaking records, the ride to 500. And then Rubite has a comment about the Jericho match. Says Jericho worked more than 15 matches this year at his age. And okay, Nathan Rodriguez says that he loved the women's match. Rubite Fardine says Layla Hirsch is really legit. Yeah, I would like to see more of her. Yeah, definitely. And Mr. Gonzalez 09 says, all I have to say is holy shit. Jake Larson says, Britt Baker got the pre-match promo when we already know her well. We need promos for the women we don't know. They need to build up the other girls. I don't mind Britt Baker getting a promo whatsoever. I think it only continues to further her and her character. So I don't necessarily mind that. But yes, I do think that you need to, build around more people. But they are building around Britt Baker, so that's good. Shonen says, I think most of the AEW women are still inexperienced and green, especially in the ring. They are still a couple of years away from building a foundation. I completely agree with you there too, Shonen, which is why I said at the top of the stream that's why, having, now that AEW has this working relationship with Impact Wrestling, or, they seem to have this working relationship. I definitely think that, incorporating the knockouts into the AEW women's division would definitely elevate them, especially because Impact Wrestling has a lot of women there, a lot. And D-Train says, Porshita is the camo, and isn't being treated like a big deal. Yeah, and we've talked about that several times. Ken Adams Business Firm says, glad it seems Rosa is staying with AEW. She would have gotten lost in NXT Women's Division, which is at its peak. NXT Women's Division, I think, has the best women's division period right now. And so I don't know what would have happened to Thunder Rosa if she would have gone there. I don't necessarily think that they might have saw her in the light that she wanted to be seen in. So it definitely worked out for her that she didn't sign with them, especially because right now they have such a bigger focus on some of the other women right now. And okay, Blue Chew Deadly says, sign Hirsch. She's legit. And our Rig says, Layla, yes. Britt, no. Are you guys not Britt Baker fans? What's going on here? What is going on here? Alrighty, guys. Moving on. Let's talk about, okay, so we already talked about Sting, but we're going to talk about it again. We're going to go into detail here. Ryan Smith says, someone needs to tell Jericho to lose weight. Guy is done on the mic, but his wrestling ability is rapidly declining. First of all, Ryan Smith, thank you so much for sending in a super chat. You are awesome. I really, really appreciate it. And it's not an easy thing to, talk about people and their bodies and all of that. So I won't even go there. But unfortunately, the stamina and the speed was very obvious in this match. That's all I'm going to say on that one. But thank you so much, Ryan Smith, for the super chat. You're awesome. All right, guys. Okay. So this is where everything really happened in terms of the Sting situation. So earlier we talked about our thoughts on Sting, but let's actually talk about everything that went down. So this all went down in the Darby Allin, Cody Rhodes versus Ricky Starks and Powerhouse Hobbs match. So first of all, the match itself, it started off quickly, which I enjoyed, but the match itself to me was pretty boring, but I guess it didn't matter in the end because nobody is talking about that match whatsoever. But what we do need to talk about, I have a complaint. Here we go. It's complaint time. It's time for complaints. I should have done a special effect. So Darby Allin pinned Ricky Starks after he did the coffin drop on him. And I'm just going to say this. I do not think that Ricky Starks should have been the one to get the pin. I definitely think the guy that should have been pinned in this match was Powerhouse Hobbs. And the reason for that is that Ricky Starks is essentially, he should be a challenger. He should be a challenger to Darby Allin. We should be seeing a great feud between these two guys. And Powerhouse Hobbs is still on the ascending path, guys. He's still not at that TNT title level just yet. Again, he is just getting there. He's on the rise to getting to that level, but he's not there yet. So I definitely think that he should have been the one to eat the pin instead of Starks. All right. And so that's essentially my one annoyance for the day, or my one complaint, because we got to complain about something. So there you go. That's my complaint for the day. Tanil says, BTW, Ricky Stark's shoulders weren't even close to being on the mat. I didn't notice that, so I don't know. And then Anthony E says, you're high if you think all these matches were boring. I didn't say that, Anthony E, and I do not get high. Let's just make that a note there. But thank you so much for taking part in this stream. All right, where am I at, guys? See, now I got lost and confused. Okay, so after this is when things get even grander. Arn Anderson gets in the ring and starts punching Hobbs. Hobbs and Starks then start attacking Arn Anderson. Dustin makes the save, but then Brian Cage comes out. So prior to the whole Sting thing, I was going to say that I feel that AEW does this too much. I feel like they do this all the time, every single week, where they do a lot of run-ins and a lot of, beat downs each and every single week. And I was originally going to complain about that, but now I don't give a damn. And the reason why I don't give a damn was because we had Sting come out. I was going to say he came back, but he essentially made his debut in AEW Dynamite. We have a super chat from Blue Chew Douglas says, Sting is the GOAT. So is Denise. Denise #1 and SRS #2. Thank you so much, Blue Chew Dudley, for the very kind super chat. Oh, someone says nothing wrong with getting high. Nothing wrong with getting high. Let me rephrase that. Nothing wrong with getting high, all right? I just don't get high, but nothing wrong with getting high. Oh, God. See, guys, this is the thing about the internet. You say one thing, and then people think you're completely against something. So let me just make that a note there. Joe League says, Starks is made. A loss does nothing to hurt him. Hobbs needs to be built and not eat losses. You have it backwards. Joe League, I appreciate that feedback. By the way, you do not have to agree with everything that I say on this show whatsoever. This is a show where you can totally disagree with me because it's okay. And we're just going to go ahead and talk about it. Talk it all out, man. So, Joe, I definitely like the way that you're seeing this. However, I don't necessarily think that Starks is necessarily made, all right? And by that, if you've been, listening to the past several weeks on AEW Dynamite, Taz has come out and he has said, he just cut a promo about this like 2 weeks ago, that where is the respect for Team Taz? These are guys that are getting these wins, but they're not getting title shots. They're not getting all of these big matches. So where is the respect for these guys? So in that sense, you can't necessarily say Stark is necessarily made. So that's just my counterpoint there. Thank you so much to Corey Jeffrey, who just sent in a super chat. He says, Dan Manners loves Okada. Thank you so much, Corey Jeffrey, for sending in that super chat. And all right, I'm looking through your comments here, see if anybody else has anything that pertains to this. Jules Ramirez says, I liked how Darby was the only one to stand up to Sting. Oh, we are going to get this. We're going to get there. Game Avro City says, defund this show. Wait, my show? How sad. All right, I don't know if you're talking about my show. All right. Okay, so after this, we get the moment where Sting comes out. And I already talked about this at the start of the show, how I reacted, how it all went down. But let's get into detail. So they're going at it. And then all of a sudden, the lights go down, guys. And we see on the video, they're showing like snow and like all of that. And then out of nowhere, you just see the big words and it says Sting. And Sting comes out. And then you just hear Tony Schiavone on commentary say, it's Sting. And that really, really made it feel really, really special. I know a lot of people were talking about, just how that one little bleep of a second felt, especially to people who grew up as fans of WCW, who grew up with WCW being their company, that company for them. So it was obviously a really big moment. He hasn't been on TNT since 2001. 2001, guys. We are now in the year 2020, which is pretty much about to end, and we're going into 2021. That is more than 19 years. Oh my God. That's freaking wild. And one of the things that I tweeted out that just hit me in my mind like right away was that you're having Sting debut in this new company, and this company that's supposed to be, like the hip new company for like younger audiences and, really appeal to that younger demographic. And so you have him debuting in a company like that when just like a few weeks ago, we had The Undertaker, who was this big icon, retire or say his final farewell. And it's just so crazy to me how these two big things could be happening literally in like the same time period. And I don't know if like a lot of people thought about it that way, but I couldn't help but have my mind go in that direction. Chris Ledeck says, that it's Sting call really took me back. Chris, thank you so much for the super chat. You are awesome. But seriously, that moment, I think really, really, really got a lot of people. El Yolo Cholo says, I felt like a kid again. See, that's really awesome. I think that a lot of people that's it really hit that spot in their heart where it's essentially, something that you grew up with. I don't know how to explain it, guys. I really don't know how to explain it. Anthony Manzano says, Denise, I feel that AEW is overusing the lights going out gimmick. I haven't felt that way personally, but now you put it in my mind, but I haven't felt that way about it before. But I'm not going to say that it really matters in this situation because, again, it was Sting, so that totally overruled everything. Like whatever complaints you had or anything, because I had my complaints, I think it totally overruled all of this. Game April City says Denise was born in 2002. She's a huge wrestling fan. I was not born in 2002. Not born in 2002. But I started watching in about 99, 2000 was when I started watching wrestling. So it's been a very, very long time for me. Okay. So we have another comment that I wanted to read from Jay, who says, love the way AEW uses the veterans, and I'm sure it will be no different with Sting's. Grew up on Sting, and it's great seeing him back. Dude, like, no shade to, like, nobody else, but, like, dude, Sting is definitely, man, he's up there on a certain level. So I definitely think that AEW knows that, and they're going to definitely utilize that. Austin NY28 says, Tony Schiavone made the Sting return more special. Also, it's funny, once Undertaker retires, Sting shows up on AEW. Thank you, Austin Y. I'm glad that I'm not the only person who felt that way. We have a super chat from Kadota, who says Jericho's bloated gut and Sting's return were sick. I don't even know what to make of your comment, but thank you so much, Kadota, for sending in your super chat. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Traeger Durati says, they brought out Sting to boost the 50 plus demo. See, I don't necessarily think it's just the 50 plus demo, because I know a lot of people that are in their early 30s, and that's very young, and they're freaking out. Like, their minds are like, blowing up because it's Sting and he's here and he's in AEW. God, like, it's just so crazy, guys. Like, the wrestling world, like, stuff that happens, man. It's so crazy. And Lenny says, my mind went when Sting showed up. I think everybody's minds completely blew up with when Sting showed up. The Keys Boost says Sting in WWE was pretty sad. I personally don't understand how you dropped the ball with Sting. I really do not know. I mean, I'm not a booker, I'm not a promoter, but, like, Lord, if I'm running a promotion and they give me Sting, you bet your butt I'm going to be doing something with him, all right? Like, it's that simple. Star power is star power, and you can't deny that whatsoever. Seriously. Todd brought up a point that I haven't thought about whatsoever. He says, Sting is going to be a great addition to the video game. Dude, yeah, that would be great. We have another super chat from Andrea Davis. It says, two legit holy shit moments, Sting debut and the Impact reveal at the end. Oh my God, we haven't even gotten to that, guys. We have so much to talk about. Oh my God. All right, I'm stressed out now, guys. Thank you so much, Andrea Davis, for sending in that comment. All right, so let's talk about this, because we have to talk about this because it's important, obviously. So not only did Sting make his debut in AEW, but AEW sent out a press release immediately, and I love this because they were ready, okay? They were ready to go, and they sent a press release so fast. I love this, especially as a press person. And this is what was said. So AEW has confirmed that they have officially signed Sting to a full-time multi-year agreement. Now, obviously, we do not know yet how many years. I'm sure that information will be out shortly, but it is a multi-year agreement full-time. So we will be seeing a lot of Sting. And we have a quote from Tony Khan, and Tony Khan essentially said, when AEW launched, I was ecstatic to bring wrestling back to TNT after a very long absence. Sting defeated the legendary Ric Flair in the final wrestling match to be shown on TNT for more than 18 years until the debut of Dynamite in 2019. Now, almost 2 decades later, it's such a thrill to welcome Sting to AEW and bring him back home to TNT. So that was the quote by Tony Khan on this. And then we also had a, I'll get to this afterwards, actually. So there you go, guys. What a night with Sting, man. I'm really excited to see what they're going to do with him. Okay, so, Nate S says, they had Sting merch ready to go at the merch table at Daly's place immediately after the debut, too. Nate, that is news to me. I had not seen that yet. Okay, thank you so much for letting me know, because I personally had not seen that just yet. I literally had not seen that. The Keys Boost says the same thing. AEW had Sting merch ready to go. Pretty cool that people involved in that didn't leak anything. Yeah, especially because everything always leaks, right? All right, so let's continue on. guys, we haven't even gotten to the main event, which was Jon Moxley versus Kenny Omega for the AEW championship. And we do have a new AEW World Champion in Kenny Omega. This match, I think a lot of people had mixed emotions, okay? Mixed emotions. We had mixed emotions on this one. So I saw people on my Twitter feed that didn't necessarily like the match, or they didn't like the finish, or they like the match but didn't like the finish, or they didn't like the match but they liked the finish. So obviously everyone is very different. Everyone has very different opinions. Personally, I'm on the side that I didn't like the match very much. Let me rephrase that. Hold on. I said that wrong. Let me rephrase this. I didn't like the start of the match. I thought the middle of the match was good, but I didn't think this match peaked. By that, I mean that the match started off slow. You knew they were going to work it for a while. You knew that it was going to be a longer match than, your basic 10-minute match. You knew that. Once it got to the middle of the match, they picked up speed. We started seeing, that style that Kenny Omega is known for, that fast-paced style. Moxley was definitely keeping up, and all of that was fantastic. However, I don't think the match reached the level of the prior past Kenny Omega matches, whether it's a singles match or a tag team match. I don't think that it completely delivered. And so personally, I was not crazy about the match. I was a little bit disappointed in it, but that's not to say that I didn't necessarily not like it, because I did like the ending. The only thing that I really do think that they could have done without was the whole head injury spot. I think that it's a little outdated to do that in 2020, because a lot of us have so much knowledge about how head injuries work, and how, when you're watching a real fight, and if you're seeing, the referees, they're looking at somebody and they're thinking, oh God, this guy just hurt his head. This is a big deal. You don't necessarily have somebody come in and then, break that all apart and bring him back into the ring. That it doesn't feel very realistic. And that was one of the things that I necessarily was not crazy about. So I think that they could have gotten to the end result of this match without having to do the whole head injury spot. So in the end, they had Don Callis come out. He's on the apron, and then Moxley essentially knocks Don Callis out. When Don Callis pushes the mic in, Kenny Omega gets Jon Moxley with the mic to the head and gets the V-trigger in on him and the one-winged angel, and that's how he gets the win. After this, Kenny Omega and Don Callis essentially rush out of the arena, and you see them go backstage. You see them go to the parking lot, and they're running out like they just stole the bout. And this part, this was like a hit or miss for me, because they were kind of making it seem like it was this big, this big screw job, right? Like, oh my God, they just screwed Jon Moxley. But really, it was your every run-of-the-mill heel finish. So I didn't necessarily think that the whole let's run out of the arena thing was necessarily that, that important. I was like, all right, you guys are maybe stretching it out a little bit there. But the cool part about this was essentially this big reveal at the end when Alex Marvez basically asked Kenny and Callis, what's going on here? And Don Callis basically says, Kenny Omega will talk on Tuesday. And he's like, dude, our show's Wednesday. And then he basically says that he's going to be on Impact Wrestling. And then bam, there is another big thing to talk about, the relationship with AEW and Impact Wrestling. So here we go. Patrick DellaPenna says, I have been praying for Kenny to win this match. So true. Never got going. Hated the end. Maybe they're just saving it for the blow-off match at the pay-per-view. Yeah, and so I'm happy that Kenny Omega won, but I do think that moment could have felt like a bigger deal if that whole spot didn't really take away from the match there. And this is his first AEW World Championship reign, so I am personally very excited. And I also hope that they do keep him as an outsider where, he's doing all of this different stuff, because I think that it will definitely raise up his star power there. And the match was fine, but it never peaked, guys. It never peaked. I really do think that I have seen so many better Kenny Omega matches. And yeah, they could be saving it up for the blow-off match. So you do have a very good sense there. And okay, Morningstar says Omega killed Mox with those V-triggers in the end. He definitely did a lot of V-triggers in this match. My favorites were the one when Jon Moxley was sitting on the chair and Kenny got him with the V-trigger. The other one was when Jon Moxley went for that dive, but instead he got hit with the V-trigger. So we definitely saw a lot of that there. Kush Money says, I only watch AEW and Impact, and now they are teaming up. Interesting. Very interesting that you only watch AEW and NXT. Nate S says the crowd didn't get the Dawn and Marvez interview. We got an Eddie Kingston and crew brawl with Lance Archer, which was super confusing. Dude, I missed that. I'm very confused on that. So if someone wants to explain to me what happened there. So yeah, someone go ahead and throw that in there, guys. Again, I was watching 2 shows. All right. And Happiness Bunny says they should have made the Impact news in the arena. Running outside was a bit much. Yeah, I do think that the running outside was a bit much, but I do like how essentially the Impact relationship was revealed. And again, I really think this is a great get for Impact. I mentioned this in the beginning, and I'm also happy that Don Callis is going to be so good with Kenny Omega in the sense that he is a great promo, has a great personality, and I think that he's going to do a lot for Kenny Omega in this whole picture. And I'm also happy that Don Callis didn't necessarily just abandon Impact Wrestling. He could have easily been like, I'm, whatever with Impact Wrestling. Let's go with the, the more popular, let's go with the more popular place, right? AEW. But no, instead he, did whatever he did to, form this collaboration with AEW and Impact Wrestling. And I really do think that that is a really awesome thing that he did there. He didn't just come into AEW just to be making these appearances. So they definitely have a lot to do here. All right, guys, send in your comments, any thoughts, because we are going to go ahead and jump into NXT TakeOver WarGames. I'm going to go through it really quickly because there's so much to talk about there. But what did you all think? Any end closing thoughts with everything that went down on AEW? Gianmarco Credit says Omega is now the official face of AEW, which honestly, Gianmarco, is really how it should have been from the start. And Tunol says, in the end, I'm glad the match didn't peak, or in my opinion, a rematch at Revolution wouldn't make sense. Jake Larson says Impact is already taped for Tuesday. Insane and didn't leak that Omega was there. Ooh, interesting point there. Okay. And Mr. Gonzalez 09. Anthony Manzana says, Denise, after Jon Moxley gets his rematch for the AEW Championship, what's next for him? Does he go to after FTW Championship or make the title more legit instead of a prop? I don't know, but I think that would be a nice direction because that's one of the things that we have been wanting to see with the FTW bout for sure. And there was a comment I was going to read and I lost it there. Okay, I'm sorry. I was going to read a question and then I lost it. Okay, Kevin Yu says, Don Callis is a great commentator and personality. Scott D'Amore is one that is featured on Impact every Tuesday, so it's nice for his personality to shine. Dude, I love Scott D'Amore. I think he is so funny. Like, he has this, like, natural like comedic part to him that like I'm a fan of Scott D'Amore. So anytime he does like any like funny segments, even when he does it with like when he does stuff with the Good Brothers, I really like all of that stuff. Joe Pepe says, does Kenny become Kenny 3 bouts this Tuesday? Question mark. Joe Pepe. That is a great question. Also, thank you so much for sending in the super chats. For the super chat. And okay, I'm going through the rest of you guys. El Cholo says, Tony Khan can buy Impact like nothing, but he wants to help out the wrestling world. And then Brandon Lewis says, it was a great show and I'm hyped by the ending. Very good booking. Also looking forward to WarGames this weekend. I'm very much looking forward to WarGames as well. And we're going to get to that as well. Nelson Wade says, you're going to lose viewers talking about NXT. Yeah, I was expecting it, Nelson. It's very interesting to me, guys. You guys surprise me all the time. Really, you do. It's very interesting to me. Like, whenever I talk about AEW, my numbers peak. And then when I talk about NXT, they do go down. So don't leave me, please. Don't leave me. And then I got people last week that were really mad that I took so long talking about NXT. So today I switched it up, man. I'm trying to please everyone, guys. It's impossible. You cannot please everyone. Oh. Okay. Cage Sakai says, a working relationship with Impact would really help the AEW women's division. Yes, agree, Cage. He says, TV exposure for a great Impact knockout division and much needed experience for the very green AEW women's division. Cage definitely bringing up points that we have discussed this, and I agree with you on all of that. And Nicholas Jakus says, not sure why people think Moxley won't regain the bout. He is the hero who must go down the road to get his belt back that he never lost in a fair ending. Thank you for bringing that point up, Nicholas. I think you're going down a good path there. He could definitely be that, that guy. Like always, guys, the money is in the chase. The money is in the chase. We're definitely going to see, Kenny Omega have a proper reign, hopefully, and, do a bunch of great matches. I have said this in past shows, but after Kenny Omega, I would really like to see Hangman Page become champion. Like, I'm just going to say this right now, guys. I am a Hangman Page fan. I am a Hangman Page stan, whatever you want to call it. I am a big fan of his. So I definitely want to see him as champion. And when he becomes champion, I want to see him stay champion. So expect for me to be very, very biased when it comes to Hangman Page. And okay, Gianmarco says, it's not AEW or NXT. We are here for you, Denise. Wow, you guys are so kind. All right, guys. So let's continue on. So I do want to take a second to plug in my interview with Shotzi Blackheart. So for those of you who have not subscribed to my YouTube channel, youtube.com/Denise Salcedo, please go there, guys. It's my baby. I have over 32,000 subscribers. The link is in the description box. Please, please, please go check it out. I have an interview with Shotzi Blackheart where she talks about NXT WarGames. She talks about the strategies that she has going into WarGames. She talks about so much stuff. If you're the person that likes to know fun facts and know interesting things about your favorite talents, she tells us about her favorite bands, her favorite pizza toppings, and so much. So go to youtube.com/Denise Salcedo and check out my interview with Shotzi Blackheart. It would really mean a lot to me. Also, like, the more views I get, the more likes I get, the more that AEW and WWE will be willing to give me interviews, guys. So hopefully the more love I get, the more chances I get of interviewing more talent. And also throughout the show, you have seen my Twitter handle and my Instagram handle here @_Denise Salcedo. You guys are more than welcome to come follow me. I'm very, very active on Twitter, and I like to chat with all of you guys. So please come on there. Let's be friends. We have another super chat from Matthew Makovsky, who says, Moxley dethrones Roman Reigns, LMAO. Oh, man, we're going cross brands here. Oh, man, guys, I'm not even going to bring that in there. But thank you so much for sending in the super chat. All right, guys, we're about to see my numbers go down, guys. We're about to see my numbers go down because we are going to talk about NXT now. I like NXT, first of all. I'm just going to say that. So I hope you guys will stick around and listen to basically what happened. We're going to go ahead and just kind of go through some quick highlights of the show. So highlights for NXT, first of all, was the introduction into NXT, which opened up with a very nice tribute to Pat Patterson, who you all know passed away today. And they did a very nice photo montage. They had the entire roster out there. Everybody, Triple H, Shawn Michaels, you name it. Everybody was out there paying respects to Pat Patterson. And this was a really nice way to really kick off the show. So this was fantastic. Another good thing about the show from tonight was Legado del Fantasma versus Priest and Leon Ruff. This was great tag team. We saw great tag team work from both teams. But I gotta say this, guys, I think Damian Priest needs to be on the main roster. I mean, we've said this so many times. There's so many different people that need to be on that main roster, but I think one of them has to be Damian Priest, because I really want to see Damian Priest versus Drew McIntyre down the line. God, I think that would be so good, and I think that's where the money is at there. We did see Leon Ruff and Damian Priest win. So overall, decent match. We saw Cameron Grimes versus August Gray. I'm happy that we're actually seeing Cameron Grimes in an actual match, because I feel like as of late, we've been seeing him in all of these, goofy, type of matches, and they really haven't, they show his comedic side, but he isn't just a comedy guy. He also has really great in-ring skill. So I am happy that we got to see this. After the match, he beats up Gray with the strap. He does have a strap match with Dexter Lumis, but prior to this, Dexter Lumis does come out from behind and essentially gets him with the strap. And then afterwards, he essentially beats him up with a strap there. We have a super chat from Lenny who says, "You broke my heart on Monday, Denise. Why do you hate Christmas?" Oh my God, everybody has been torturing me on social media with this Christmas comment that I said. Guys, I do not hate Christmas. I said Christmas was overrated. I don't hate it though. Oh my God. Lenny, thank you so much for the super chat. Curryhead says, "Denise talking about NXT is the only time that I care." Thank you so much for not leaving me. Thank you, Curryhead, and for sending in a super chat. You're so nice. Guys, I'm so excited that so many people send super chats. All right. We saw another good match with oh my God, I can't talk anymore. Jake Atlas versus Tony Nese. This was fine. Jake Atlas won this match, cut a promo afterwards. Good. I'm glad they're giving him some promo time. And speaking of promo time, the Pat McAfee promo, guys, I loved this. And I got to say, Pat McAfee is definitely one of my favorite persons to watch on NXT. He essentially came out, mocked the video that was shown earlier with Undisputed Era, which, by the way, I did love that video that was shown by Undisputed Era because they look super fancy, even though Pat McAfee said they did not look fancy whatsoever. But I thought the major takeaway from the Pat McAfee promo, was that this promo, reminds you that you want to see Pat McAfee get his ass kicked at NXT TakeOver WarGames, and you just know that his crew of guys is going to try to do anything possible to not get him to get whooped in that NXT TakeOver WarGames match. But you know that he is, because it's WarGames. So I am very excited to see how this whole thing plays down. I'm excited to see Pat McAfee get the whooping of a lifetime, because you know he hates all of us loser wrestling fans. So might as well let him see him get his butt kicked. This is definitely the type of promo that you need ahead of WarGames. And we have a question from Anthony Manzano who says, "Denise, what do you want to happen with the storyline that they're building up with NXT with Xia Li and Boa?" Anthony, what do I want to happen? I don't even understand the storyline. I don't even know what's happening. I can't even give you a proper explanation. If someone on here wants to come out and give me a brilliant insight on this whole Xia Li Boa situation, please do, because I don't have it. Anthony E, thank you so much for the super chat. He says, "Hell of a time to be a wrestling fan. Hashtag AEW rules." It is definitely a hell of a time to be a wrestling fan and to talk about wrestling. Like, what a better time to have a wrestling talk show, right? Okay. So, the main event, guys. Oh God, I feel horrible. So first of all, I got to go back and rewatch this match. So as you all know, I have 3 hours to watch both shows. I feel that I need to rewatch this match with Raquel Gonzalez and Shotzi Blackheart, because I did miss a lot of this match. So what I will say though, I'll just talk about the results. The results of this were that Shotzi won, guys, which was interesting to me, that the babyface team is going into WarGames with the advantage. It's usually the other way around. It's usually the heel team getting that advantage. That is the point of WarGames. You want to see the baby faces go through a challenge, have a challenge of a lifetime and eventually get that comeback, right? But we're not going to have that with this one here. The babyface team is going in with the advantage, which is crazy too, because they also have the NXT Women's Champion on their team. So that's also another advantage there. So that is pretty much NXT. But guys, we have one more thing to go into. I do want to go into my NXT TakeOver WarGames predictions. There's only 4 matches, so we will talk about that. But first and foremost, if you are enjoying my show, please check me out on youtube.com/Denise Salcedo. That is my YouTube channel. After every single WWE pay-per-view, I do go ahead and recap the show. And I am going to be recapping NXT TakeOver WarGames on my channel, so you guys can check that out. But here's the big but, guys. If you have not subscribed to F4W Online's YouTube channel, please subscribe. We are nearing 70,000 subscribers. So please subscribe to the F4W Online YouTube channel if you haven't already. It would really be super awesome if you guys did. And I'm assuming most of you guys are, because you're on here. But just in case, if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe to F4W Online. Also, before I move on to my NXT TakeOver WarGames predictions, I do want to take a second 2nd and plug in Ed in San Antonio show. Ed is a good friend of the show, and his show, Ed in San Antonio, Poder Dos, is airing on Fight TV on December 5th. That is this Saturday at 7 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. Eastern. Again, that is this Saturday. So that's right. Ed in San Antonio returns to the FSW Arena in Las Vegas for Poder Dos. The event will feature the top women's wrestlers of the world, and some of the talent that the show will includes FSW's women's champion Lacey Ryan, Nicole Savoy, Delilah Doom, Raze, and Impact Wrestling's very own Chris Bay, plus so many more. So guys, if you don't have anything to do, you want to check out some great wrestling, some great women's wrestling, please check out Ed in San Antonio show, Poder Dos, on Fight TV this Saturday, December 5th at 7 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. Eastern. Also, fun fact, I won't tell this story now, but Ed in San Antonio literally saved my life, okay? Out of this whole story. I haven't even shared it with him. I haven't even given him the full details of how he saved my life without even knowing it. So eventually I will tell that story down the line. But really quickly, NXT TakeOver WarGames predictions. Kicking it off with the women's WarGames match, which is Team Shotzi versus Team Candice. So originally I was always going to say Team Shotzi, that I thought Team Shotzi should win, but now they have to win, guys. They have the advantage. Shotzi has to get her revenge on her tank. There is no reason why Team Shotzi should not be winning this War Games match. Next up, the men's War Games match, which is the Undisputed Era versus Pat McAfee and his guys, Pete Dunne, Danny Burch, and Oney Lorcan. I definitely think that Undisputed Era should win. I think this is going to be their big send-off, their big hoorah. Hopefully they go into the main roster. That is my bold prediction. So definitely the Undisputed Era, and I definitely see this as a send-off for them. Then we have the triple threat match for the NXT North American Championship, which is Leon Ruff, who's defending his championship against Johnny Gargano and Damian Priest. I'm definitely going to go with Leon Ruff because I think that they have something with him. I think that if they build him up the right way, we can see a young star in the making, which is definitely what we need to see. I do not think Johnny Gargano needs the bout. Damian Priest, if Leon Ruff is not going to retain the bout, then I would definitely like to see Damian Priest take this one. But again, Damian Priest, Johnny Gargano, definitely people I want to see on the main roster. And lastly, Dexter Lumis versus Cameron Grimes. In a strap match. I'm really not that interested in this match. I'm not really digging the whole strap match stipulation. So personally, I'm a little bit not of a fan of this stipulation for this match. But either way, I'm going to make a prediction, and I'm going to predict Cameron Grimes to win the strap match. So that is our NXT TakeOver War Games prediction. But we have a super chat from Mega Geek Mixer. Mega Geek Mixer, thank you so much for the very kind super chat. He says, amazing as always, Denise. Keep it up. Was surprised that the faces gained the advantage, yet I think it means they lose on Sunday. Pattern usually is team with advantage loses at War Games. Hope I'm wrong. Mega Geek Mixer, thank you so much for sending in a super chat and for sending in your predictions for the NXT TakeOver War Games. I really, really appreciate it. Appreciate that. And all right, any last comments here? This is from Matthew Makovsky, who says, his prediction is Shotzi wins, Undisputed Era wins, and then moves to the main roster. Grimes versus Loomis, he says, who effing cares? Ruff retains. After Gargano or Priest hits a finisher on each other, Ruff throws one of them out, then pins the other. That would actually be, I could definitely see that happening, actually. So good call there. And Nicholas Jakus says, Leon Ruff can barely wear the bout. Stop making it a joke and give it back to Priest. You know what? I actually thought that moment was somewhat endearing when he dropped the bout because it was unexpected, and it's definitely not something that you would think would happen intentionally. So it was an accident. So you can't really hate the guy, I think, for doing something accidental. And I like his work. I mean, granted, he's only been signed with WWE since October. So I feel like we got to give the guy a chance, right? And I love his energy. And I have an interview with Leon Ruff, so I like his energy. I really, really dig it. Okay, and there you go, guys. That is pretty much our show for today. Before I go, please hit me up on Twitter or on Instagram at _ Denise Salcedo. Subscribe to the F4W online YouTube channel and check out my YouTube channel, youtube.com/Denise Salcedo. Again, all the links in the description box below. If you watch this show live, please do not forget to give this video a like and also comment afterwards so this video can rank even higher. Let me know what you thought of the show on Twitter or Instagram. And that's about it, guys. I really had an awesome time chatting with you guys here today. I think that this was a really good day in wrestling. So much news, and I'm very excited to see what is going to go down in the future. So I will see you guys back here at the exact same time next week. I hope you guys had a wonderful time. And even if you're watching the replay, please give it a like, subscribe, all of that stuff. Love you all, and I hope you guys have a wonderful night. Bye.